Restoring Illinois to greatness. This is Illinois Rising, presented by the Illinois Policy Institute and hosted by AM 560's Dan Proft.
Dan Proft back with Pat Hughes, Illinois Opportunity Project, in this edition of Rising. And Pat, an interesting moment in a Senate Judiciary Committee hearing this week featuring our own senior Senator Saka Durbin, along with the Di-Fi from California and Hirano from Hawaii, where Democrats apparently have a religious test now for appointment to the federal bench. In this case, we're talking about Notre Dame law professor Amy Barrett, who is a Trump nominee for the Seventh Circuit Court of Appeals, and she's Catholic at Notre Dame Law School. And this is what she was subjected to by, let's start with Senator Di-Fi.
When you read your speeches, the conclusion one draws is that the dogma lives loudly within you. And that's of concern when you come to big issues that large numbers of people have fought for years in this country.
The dogma lives loudly within you.
All right, God, I hope it does, Dan. I hope it does. It's supposed to live within you, and it doesn't necessarily mean that's how you're going to make judicial decisions. Those should be based on what the Constitution says, but God bless her for the dogma living within her.
And Senator Dick Durbin wanted to get into the act, too. That smug, Catholic-hating, self-professed Catholic who, by the way, he doesn't get communion in Springfield thanks to Bishop Paprocki. And if only we had more Catholic clergy that exhibited the kind of courage and, well, frankly, consistency to Catholic instruction that Paprocki did. Here's Dick Durbin assaulting Barrett for being Catholic. A conservative Catholic. Because if you're a social justice Catholic, if you're a Catholic who wants to just focus on junk science and poor economics, that's not a problem. If you're a conservative Catholic, or as Professor Barrett referred to herself, a faithful Catholic, even if you can separate the two, as you suggested, with respect to my responsibilities as a jurist versus my personal belief system, that's not good enough.
So let me ask you this question. I'm a product of 19 years of Catholic education.
Nobody's bragging about that.
Every once in a while, Holy Mother of the Church has not agreed with a vote of mine and has let me know. You use a term in that article, or you both use a term in that article I'd never seen before. You refer to Orthodox Catholics. What's an Orthodox Catholic?
As I recall, that term, we said something like, for lack of a better term, we're using the term Orthodox Catholic, and there was a long footnote saying, that was an imperfect term. It could, refer to Orthodox Judaism, Greek Orthodox. And so we kind of cast about, but what that term was designed to capture, because we were talking about conscientious objection, was a judge who accepted the church's teaching that the death penalty would be impermissible in that case. We wrote about it from the perspective of a Catholic judge because my professor, John Garvey, had already undertaken that project, but it's really a problem that could face a judge of any religion or no religion at all who had a conscientious objection to the death penalty.
Do you consider yourself an Orthodox Catholic?
I am a Catholic, Senator Durbin. Orthodox Catholic, we kind of, as I said in that article, we just kind of use that as a proxy. It is not, to my knowledge, a term currently in use, but if you're asking whether I take my faith seriously and I'm a faithful Catholic, I am, although I would stress that my personal church affiliation or my religious belief would not bear on the discharge of my duties.
Are you now, or have you ever been a conservative Catholic?
Yeah, Dan, so what this is about two things, and this is why Catholics scare leftists. It's about abortion, it's about gay marriage, but it's mostly about abortion, right? And so what Durbin and Feinstein are really saying is, are you going to overturn Roe versus Wade because Catholics are opposed to abortion? And that's
not all of them are.
Well, the tenor, an Orthodox Catholic or a faithful Catholic like you or I would oppose it based on a number of reasons, not the least of which is our faith. And this just goes to show, Dan, how powerful the special interest, Planned Parenthood, and the left is. Because let me tell you something, Dan. There are 70 million Catholics in the United States. There are another 200 million Christians who are non-Catholic who believe similarly to the things that Professor Barrett believes. And the fact that Dick Durbin and Feinstein are willing to alienate all of those voters, or potentially all of them at one time, to serve the cult of abortion is incredible to me.
Well, you've also had others weigh in on this topic, including those of a left variety who understand what the precedent Durbin and Di-Fi are trying to set of a religious test, and that it doesn't necessarily have to be limited to Christians or Catholics. Depending on who's in power, if we're going to do that, then, well, perhaps somebody will apply a religious test to Jews. Perhaps somebody will apply a religious test to Muslims, which is why you've had the president of Princeton University call on Durbin and Di-Fi specifically to not impose any religious test. You had Social Justice Catholic, Latari Medal conferee to Joe Biden, invite the gentleman who invited President Obama to speak at Notre Dame, the president of Notre Dame, Father John Jenkins. He inveighed against what Di-Fi and to an extent Durbin and the others were doing to Professor Barrett, and came to her defense, as you've had New York Times columnists and others, because they understand just how dangerous this is, religious McCarthyism. That's what Durbin and Di-Fi are engaged in.
Yeah.